campus and to go anywhere with my meal card other than the cafeteria. So, bravo, Iona. Thank you, Dr. Strauss, for what you're doing to bring it forward. We love Starbucks. I was honored to be asked to speak tonight. Mentoring is something I've always enjoyed doing. It not only helps the mentee, but I find tremendous pleasure in celebrating the successes of those that I'm able to help. And I hope to do the same with some of you in this room tonight. So as I began to write my thoughts on what I was going to say tonight and about my own journey, as I normally do when I speak publicly, and I do it quite often, this thing is right in my face, and I do it quite often in my job, I wanted to leave something inspirational. I wanted you all to leave here tonight inspired. So I started to look up quotes from thought leaders, and I did some online research, and then I do what I always do when I public speak. I threw it all in a ball and I toss it out the window. I'm a kind of tell it like it is kind of gal, and that's exactly what I'm going to give you guys tonight. So I've spent the last 20 years of my career as a fundraiser. I started my career, as mentioned, on this campus. I worked with some people in this room, people that greeted you. There's a vice provost in this room that was just a student when I met her, so it's really a joy to be back here. Today I'm the Vice President of Development and Marketing for Wartburg, which is an adult community, and I run the fundraising, the volunteer, and the marketing departments. I also run an arts-based therapy program for our 500 residents and the community. I get tremendous joy out of what I do. But let me ask you this. You guys were all kids at one point. You all talked about what you wanted to be when you grew up. Did anybody ever say in your group of friends, in your crew, did they ever say, I want to be a fundraiser when I grow up? No, I didn't hear that. I certainly didn't say it, but yet, here I am. So how did I become a fundraiser, right? How did this journey start for me? So let me just back up a second. When I came to Iona, I came out of high school, obviously, like everybody did, and I don't know what your experience was, but I hated high school. Hated it. I couldn't wait to get out. And when Iona accepted me, I was excited to start a new journey. When I got here, this immediately felt like home to me, and it was my chance. It was my chance to either look back and think of what I could have done and didn't in high school, or to look forward and make it something that I could be proud of. So I joined the Ionian, which I believe you still have here, right? Mm-hmm. Awesome. So I joined the Ionian, right? Not because I wanted to join every organization on campus, but because I happened to meet a couple of people at a bar that used to be on North Avenue, and I thought they were cool and they were part of the Ionian. So I joined. But what I found was that Iona not only offers just an education, but a sense of community, right? So I joined the Ionian as a staff writer, and then I went on to be a news editor. In my last 2 years, I was the editor-in-chief. And in the meantime, right, the Ionian used to be on the second floor. There was no student union building here. It was on the second floor of Spelman. So was the yearbook and WICR and student government. So I ended up joining all those organizations. Again, not because I was driven to be, Gal Friday and do every organization that there was on campus. It's because I met a lot of cool people, and they did a lot of cool things, and I wanted to do those cool things with them. But what happened out of that experience is what really started my journey. So if you're taking notes, write this down. Get involved, make connections. I cannot press upon you any more than that, make connections. In this world of instant messaging, emails, and texts, put the cell phones down, put the devices to the side. Get up and talk to somebody face to face. Pick up the phone and make a call. Go to lunch. Do something other than just send a text or an email, because it's those connections that are going to make the difference to you in your work life. The best responses I get in my job when I'm trying to build relationships is when I do just that. When I call, or I meet them for lunch, or I write a handwritten note. When is the last time somebody wrote a handwritten note? Let me see a show of hands. Nice, bravo, bravo, exactly. But most of the people in this room don't, because who writes notes anymore? And that's the very reason to write a note, because people don't. It sets you apart. Take the time. It takes 2 seconds to write a note, 1 second to send a text message, but spending a second more of your life is going to make the difference. So when I started here and I joined all these groups, I became a student leader. So that journey of just happening to run into a few cool people in a bar one night and join the Ionian, and then that rolls into all these wonderful organizations that I joined, I became a student leader. And the then dean of students, as I was getting ready to graduate, asked me if I wanted to be a graduate assistant. Does everybody know what that is here? In short, Iona paid for my graduate degree. And they gave me a job. It's better than that, right? So I started here in student development. And then I left here, I finished my graduate degree, and I was getting ready to graduate. Again, I'm gonna tell you like it is, I had no job, and I had no job prospects. All I could see was graduation day. I didn't see beyond that. I just finished 7 years of schooling. I didn't want to do anything but take that plane ticket my parents so generously gave me and kick around Europe for a few weeks. That's it. So Iona approached me, and they said, what do you think about fundraising? And I said, honestly, I don't. And they said, well, there's a job in annual giving. Would you be interested in it? So I said yes. One, because I had no job prospects, but two, because I wanted to give back to the school that gave so much to me. So that's a very long answer to how I became a fundraiser, but I'm telling you like it is, that's how I became a fundraiser. So I came back and I started as the Associate Director of Annual Giving after I came back from Europe. It was an awesome trip, by the way. So what I'm saying to you now is to try new things. You never know where the journey will lead you. I just had a conversation with County Executive Latimer where we talked about how life takes you in different directions that you don't think. Just be open to them. You know, you're at an age where I can honestly say I don't think I listened to anybody who was up at a podium when I was your age. Like, yeah, I'll figure it out. And I did, but I didn't do it in a way that I thought I would, right? I let myself be open to things. And now I'm standing before you as an alumni here 20 years ago and saying, I want to help you do the same thing. It's an amazing place to be. So during college, I had a few amazing internships. I had, as I was getting my master's in journalism, I was an on-air reporter for a radio station. I was a research associate for Rolling Stone magazine that I thought was going to be the coolest job ever because I was going to hang out with rock stars. I didn't meet one. And then I took the leap of faith and I became the fundraiser. So fundraising is it's sales. It's just selling an intangible product. But what I found was that you have to be passionate about what you're selling or you can't sell it well. So I'm glad my career started at Iona because I was passionate about what Iona did for me and I wanted to give back. So that helps. So what I'm saying is follow your passion. Find out what you love doing and follow that. Because although I didn't always love the jobs I had, and it's been a long time, thankfully, since it was a Sunday night and I had a knot in my stomach because there was a work week ahead of me and I hated my job, it hasn't been that way for a long time. I started my career in healthcare at the Leukemia Lymphoma Society, helping their national chapters reach their fundraising goals. And blood cancer, helping blood cancer patients was a mission I could get passionate about. So I climbed the corporate ladder until I got to LLS, and I took jobs that gave me better titles and more money. And then I left that job because I hated it to the next job where I had a better title and more money. And I hated that job because I wasn't working in a place that allowed me to feel passionate about what I was doing. So again, if you take anything from this, remember, follow your heart, follow your passion, because your jobs are going to be 10 hours of your day, 5 days a week. That's a lot of time to be in a place that you don't like what you're doing. So you have the whole world ahead of you. You have the world as your oyster. So pick wisely, but pick for you. Pick where your heart tells you to go. But being in healthcare is interesting, right? I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, I'm not a social worker. I often don't have direct clinical patient interaction, but healthcare goes so far beyond that. I mean, it takes the fundraisers that raise dollars so they can support the programs, and the IT people to bring cutting-edge technology to the patients, and the accountants to ensure that the money goes where it should be going. It takes a village in healthcare, in any job really, but specifically healthcare. So if that's something you're interested in, just remember it's not just about the doctors and nurses, although they are a vital part of the healthcare arena. It certainly takes everybody working together to make sure that we're all living our healthiest, best lives. So I go home every night and I know the dollars I raised are going to make a difference to the people I'm raising them for. The volunteers that I take around campus for a tour, I know they're going to bring smiles to our residents' faces. And I know I don't generally have patient interaction. I know I'm making an important difference to the people that we serve. And to me, that's all I need to know at the end of the day. I'll never meet these people. I'll never hear a thank you, or it's unlikely I'll hear a thank you. But I followed my heart, and I love what I do. And that makes a big difference in my life. So again, find out what makes you happy, what fulfills you, what makes you feel good, and it's only then you're gonna love what you do. Don't ever be complacent. Take risks. Go beyond your everyday job. When I was at the Leukemia Lymphoma Society, they have a program called Team in Training. It's where they train you to run a marathon. I hate running. To do a triathlon. I'm not a swimmer. But they did have something called Hike for Discovery. So on my bucket list was to hike the Grand Canyon. No idea why. It's just on my bucket list. So I signed up. Never hiked a day in my life. I figured I'm gonna go to Arizona, I'm gonna hang out for a few days, I'm gonna meet some cool people, I'm gonna do a 3-mile hike, and then I'm gonna go shopping. And I'm gonna raise some money for blood cancer research in the process. What actually ended up happening is I made lifelong friends. I did a 14-mile hike in 11 hours and 20 minutes. I have twins, I'm pretty sure that was harder than childbirth. And I raised over $10,000 for cancer research. So I went beyond my comfort zone and I did something different, something I've never tried in my life. And it brought tremendous joy to me, and it was a lifetime experience, and I'm so thankful for it. But from a professional standpoint, I learned to love the organization I worked for even more. Because every day that I was out hiking, we were reminded that the woman who was our patient hero, the one battling blood cancer, had a much tougher journey ahead of us than I did, because I was hiking a few miles. So it really put things in perspective. It drove home our mission. And I met people at my job that I wouldn't normally have met because I was doing something different. I went beyond my job. It can only help you to do so. See challenges as opportunities. Everything is the way we see it. After 8 years, I left leukemia lymphoma and I went to Burke Rehabilitation Hospital in White Plains, where for over 100 years, they never had a fundraising department. So the chief development officer, who was my former colleague at Leukemia Lymphoma, asked me to come over as a right-hand man and start all the revenue-generating programs, where again, there was nothing in place. So do I see it as a daunting task, or do I see it as a challenge? I opted for the latter. I saw it as a challenge. And I can say with pride that in year 1, we increased new donors by 400% and doubled our annual income. It's all in the way we see things. If I saw it as daunting, I would have been too scared to do some of the things I did. I took those risks, I went outside my comfort zone, and it made a difference to the people that we raised that money for. Continually change your perception. Life is gonna throw curveballs at you. It's just what happens. Whether you allow it to knock you down or to make you stronger is your choice. What defines how you deal with it is how you see it, how you react to it, how you perceive it. I'll give you an example. I was hired at Warburg as the director of development to run their fundraising department. In year 2, I got the marketing department. In year 3, I got the volunteer department. You know how many new staff I got? None. So all my workload increased, all my responsibilities increased. We continually met our goal year over year, which is wonderful, but then they expect more from you. So now I have 3 staff members that are overworked, morale is low, and we still need to do what we do. So I paused and I thought how to make this into a positive. And I took each one of my staff members aside and I asked them, what do you like to do? What don't you like to do? What's your dreams? Now keep in mind, my staff goes from 65 to 35. So all their answers were different, all their goals were different. But once we changed the way we did business, once we reorganized the department, once I gave those people things that they could really invest in, we knocked it out of the park, and we still do. So it's just a matter of how you perceive something. If you see it as a challenge and a challenge as an opportunity, you can't help but succeed. Okay, almost done here, guys. Ladies, where's my ladies at? This one's for you. Although it amazes me that it remains so, women today still make 75 cents on the dollar for the same exact job that men do. Don't roll your eyes. I'm looking at you guys. Don't roll your eyes. It's true. Same job. So why? How is that possible in the 21st century? And I can tell you one of the reasons I think it is. We don't ask. We think because society's roles on women, although everything is ever changing, remains pretty much constant. We're child rearers, We're the caretakers, we're the housekeepers, we're the jugglers, we're the event planners, we're all of it. But maybe we don't have the time. Maybe it's too much to take on a new responsibility. Maybe we don't deserve the raise. And I'm telling you, that is not true. Get to the table, ladies. Don't sit on the sidelines. When you sit at that table and you're an active voice in the conversation and the decisions and the roles of the organization, you will be seen as such. If you sit on the sidelines, you're gonna look like somebody who's out of the game. Get in the game. It's important. We can change the norm. We can change the world. Be the change you want to see in the world. All right, so I took one quote from a thought leader, but I do love Gandhi. So be the change you want to see in the world. Ladies, we're strong. We persevere in the worst kind of circumstances. We always come out on top. We're born leaders. All of us, even the men in this room, but I'm talking to the ladies now. What I can't understand is what I've seen in my career is I see women tear each other down for no other reason than petty jealousies or petty gripes or to get to that next rung on the ladder. We don't need to do that. Now, imagine, change your perception. Imagine a world where women band together. Imagine a world where we all have a seat at the table, where we all get equal pay, where we see more women as CEOs in the marketplace, as senior level executives, far more than we see now. If you take one thing away from tonight, please let it be this. We're all in this together. Now I'm talking to the men and the women. We're all in this together. Help each other, build each other up. Let's change this world to be better, to be the world that we want to be in. I know children and families seem far away for most of you right now. It's not. Build that world now, you'll reap the benefits tomorrow. Life's a journey, it's not a destination. I lied, that's the second quote. I have no idea who said it though. I said it, I'm a thought leader, how's that? I'm taking credit. So as you go forth into this world and make your mark, remember to enjoy the journey. Life is not about how many breaths we take, it's how many moments take our breath away. Live each day to the fullest, take risks, try new things, help each other, and most of all, remember that you are worth it, you deserve it, and you can do it. Now go out there and kick some butt. Thank you.